Tonight, K-File, uncovering a series of tweets from a top Marco Rubio deputy, calling Rubio, quote, low IQ, and spreading false rumors about Rubio's sexuality. Darren Beattie is one of Rubio's acting deputies at the State Department. It's an important job. He since deleted the tweets, but our K-File, of course, found them. And Andrew Kaczynski is out front. And Andrew, this matters. You're looking at a department, in crisis with all of the cuts and trying to find stability to have this sort of thing happening. What exactly did you find that Darren Beattie had posted and then deleted about Marco Rubio?
And yeah, what's interesting about this isn't some low-level staffer. This is one of the most important jobs at the State Department. This is the Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy. He's the person in charge of all public diplomacy for the State Department. And the thing that's really clear from all of these deleted tweets is that he had a pretty deep disdain for Marco Rubio, calling him low IQ, spreading rumors that suggested that Rubio was gay. And I want people to look. That's totally unfounded, by the way, but I want people to look at just a couple of them. Look at this one tweet that he sent on January 7th. He said, forget Wainwright Park, forget the foam, forget the war promotion and the neocon sugar daddies, forget the low IQ, forget the 2016 primary. Rubio is tough on China and good for the military industrial complex. So be a good dog and vote for him. He's being facetious there. But two of these things are references to conspiracy theories, again, that are claiming that Rubio is gay, which is, again, totally unfounded. Right. This Wainwright Park one.
Wainwright
Park. And then Foam claimed that Rubio attended these gay foam parties. Again, totally unfounded. That's one of them. This other one that he sent right after that said, quote, what happens in the cabana stays in the cabana, hashtag Rubio. He sent both of those tweets, by the way, on January 7th. This is obviously right after the riot at the U.S. Capitol, which Rubio condemned. Right. And then he sent another one showing they also disagreed over policy. He attacked Rubio in Ukraine when Rubio said that any chemical weapons or nuclear weapons used in Ukraine would be Russia. He wrote, I bet Rubio thinks Assad gassed his own people. Responding to Rubio, Assad obviously did gas his own people. That's also spreading a conspiracy theory. So that's a little bit of what we found. And this is just some of the deleted tweets. There were a number of others, too.
And pretty shocking as to why he's in this position anyway. And that brings me to this, which is, this isn't the first rodeo for Darren Beattie. He has a controversial past. In fact, it's not even the first time that you at K-File have reported on him. In fact, because of your reporting, the first Trump administration fired him. They fired him because of your reporting. Now he's back. Tell me more about this Darren Beattie.
Yeah, that's right. He was a speech writer in the Trump White House in 2018. He was fired after I reported that he attended a conference that included white nationalists. In the 7 years since he was fired in 2018, he has made racially charged comments. He's made misogynistic comments. He has spread conspiracy theories. He cheered on, we found, the riot at the U.S. Capitol. And then he later claimed the riot at the U.S. Capitol, which he had cheered on, he spread conspiracy theories that it was orchestrated by the U.S. government. One of the tweets from last year that got a lot of attention, I want people to take a look at, he wrote, quote, competent white men must be in charge if you want things to work. Unfortunately, our entire national ideology is predicated on coddling the feelings of women and minorities and demoralizing competent white men. That's one of the tweets. He also sent a string of tweets on January 6th that attacked lawmakers of color. These are just a few of them. Look at them. He said Mayor Bowser, that's the mayor of D.C., should take a knee as a sign of respect for MAGA. Tim Scott, African-American senator from South Carolina, Republican, he said Tim Scott needs to learn his place and take a knee
Learn
to
his
MAGA.
place.
Learn his place and take a knee to MAGA. BLM must take a knee to MAGA. They must learn their place. And then Cole James of Heritage Foundation needs to learn her place and take a knee to MAGA. Those are all comments that he made about lawmakers of color.
So in a sense, it's shocking how Rubio would keep him if he knew some of this. I mean, he knew the competent white men stuff because he'd been fired for that the first time around, but maybe not the stuff about him personally. Have they responded to your reporting?
No response from Rubio, no response from the White House. Rubio did get asked about some of his controversial comments when he was first appointed. Have you seen the tweets? And I think Rubio said, thanks, everybody, and went away. But this is what Betty said when we asked for comment. He sent a comment that said, Secretary Rubio is 100% American first, and it is a tremendous honor to work for him in advancing President Trump's world historic agenda. So before, thought he was low IQ, spread rumors that he might be gay. Now he says he's 100% America first and great.
Right, rumors which, he has fostered in some of the dark corners of X. All right, thank you very much, K-File. And next, Trump's